Great. Thanks a lot for that great info, Jeff. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another Determinate Systems webinar. It's your main man, Luc Perkins here, coming at you once again from Buenos Aires, Argentina, the greatest city on the planet Earth, in my unhumble opinion. This time around, we're going to be doing something a bit different, as Jeff said, and we're going to be using a webinar to tease a major product release before it happens. So we're still in the process of nailing down some details of what our secure packages offering is going to look like. But today, I think we feel quite well positioned to describe some of the problems that it solves and to reveal some of its core features to the world. So what specifically is this product? Well, you can think of it as basically a curated package set based on Nix packages. It's essentially the same Nix packages that you know and love and probably use every single day. But what we've done is that we've taken a crucial subset of its packages, currently a few hundred, but that will grow over time. And we're subjecting them to some intense security scanning. We're patching any CVEs that emerge amongst the packages in that package set. And we're providing detailed, actionable provenance information that your security team is probably going to be very pleased with. And we do this all on custom, secure SOC 2 Type 2 compliant infrastructure that we manage ourselves. And I'll say a lot more about these bullet points a few slides from now. The goal of this is, unsurprisingly, to make a healthy subset of Nix packages more secure and to remove a substantial burden from security engineers in larger organizations. But there's a related goal here, and that is making Nix packages more compliance friendly. So, like it or not, a lot of us, including us at Determinate Systems, work within strict compliance regimes that require us to do a lot of extra homework and to show a substantial paper trail. And we think that the CSOs of the world will be keen to delegate a lot of this burden to us for teams using Nix. We should note at the outset that Determinate Secure Packages has a pretty well-defined target audience. If you're a large enterprise with many developers and a dense web of security concerns, we have basically built this for you. At the same time, if you're a smaller shop or a Nix hobbyist, then it's quite possible that upstream Nix packages is completely suitable for your needs. Ultimately, Nix packages is a Nix flake, a tarball, basically, with a bunch of Nix expressions in it. And of course, having a secure variant of those Nix expressions is incredibly useful. But you don't want to build these packages yourself. You want your developers to be able to just pull these packages directly from a binary cache. So unsurprisingly, given that we provide Flake Hub Cache, we push all of the packages in this package set to Flake Hub Cache so that your teams can get authenticated access to them using Determinate Nix. This unlocks a really nice organizational onboarding story where basically you sign up for Determinate Secure Packages, your folks log into Flake Hub, and they're immediately off to the races using our secure package set in their development environments and in their NixOS systems and in their Docker images. And however it is you use Nix, Determinate Secure Packages can be absolutely at the core of your usage. Now, to give some background on why we've opted to build this, I want to talk about Nix packages itself. And I want to start on an extremely positive note. I think colossal achievement is a rather superlative way to frame it, I suppose. Nix packages is one of the top 5 most active repositories on GitHub. It might even be top 1 or 2 at this point, depending on how you count it. It's the result of countless thousands of hours of human labor, possibly even millions of hours, again, very difficult to count. And thus far, it's involved very large sums in infrastructure costs going back for more than a decade. It is, by all accounts, and universally regarded as the largest and most active package repository in the world, with well over 100,000 packages at this point. Probably hundreds of thousands if you include things like VS Code extensions and Terraform plugins and Vim plugins and things of that sort. This makes Nix packages far bigger than APT, RPM, Homebrew, and many other extremely robust offerings. The packages in Nix packages include things like CLI tools that you use every day. So, curl and wget and zip and things of that sort. It includes essential system utilities like standard GNU core utils. It includes language-specific compilers and tool chains like GCC and Rust-C and Python and Zig and Node.js and many others. It includes some more kind of application-level things like databases and messaging systems and network utilities. I could really go on and on here. If it exists in the software world and it matters, it's very likely to be in Nix packages. The point is, I think we can safely say that Nix packages is the keystone and the beating heart of the Nix ecosystem, even more so than Nix as a tool itself. Well, we at Determinate Systems also look forward to a future in which flakes make the Nix ecosystem more decentralized. We also know that Nix packages is going to continue to be relied on in virtually every Nix project on the planet for the foreseeable future. So even when people are packaging their own software and exposing it in their own flakes, they're likely going to be using Nix packages standard environment and some subset of packages from Nix packages for the foreseeable future. So great, Nix packages is this incredible technological achievement, but we do think that it has some intrinsic limitations that you should be wary of. First, Nix packages is a volunteer project, and this is unquestionably one of the sources of its deep vitality. It's impossible to imagine Nix packages as some kind of single company proprietary project. At Determinate Systems, for example, I think that 7 out of 9 of us are active Nix packages contributors. I personally maintain something like 10 to 15 packages, and it's a true labor of love for me, as I'm sure it is for some of you watching as well. But volunteer projects, unsurprisingly, have some organizational and other downsides. One of them is that there are inconsistent standards across Nix packages, across different domains. There are working groups and RFCs, and there's a Nix packages core team. So it's absolutely not some kind of anarchic, chaotic project, but it's so massive and cross-cutting that standards for what constitutes an acceptable pull request, for what constitutes good work, what constitutes an idiomatic use of Nix, can really vary substantially across domains. More concerningly, I think the sheer scale of Nix packages makes it necessary to keep responsibility for packages rather diffuse. So what you have is a kind of emergent, fluid responsibility structure that changes over time. As people opt to devote their time to specific domains, then maybe they lose interest, other folks jump in. So you end up with this loose assemblage of domains with really solid oversight in some, and other domains where people can more or less merge their own PRs, or merge PRs with a single +1 from somebody who just takes a quick glance, or a +1 from somebody who works on the same team. And in many cases, this is totally fine. But at scale, this can present real problems from a security standpoint. When a new CVE is discovered, who is responsible for fixing it? What's the expected turnaround time? Who is in charge? And these things can all vary substantially. A related issue is the potential for malicious intent. Now, I want to be fully clear on this one. My intention is not to say that this is extremely likely or to suggest that we should be suspicious toward any current Nix packages maintainer. But as many of you have probably noticed, the political environment in the Nix ecosystem has become rather charged. And when you couple this with things like diffuse responsibility and varying standards, it's not unthinkable that bad actors could use cracks in the system to poison certain packages or to misuse Nix packages infrastructure. And in fact, as Nix becomes more popular and Nix packages becomes more heavily relied upon, the juicier a target it becomes for malicious actors. So let's say a state actor gets involved in Nix packages, builds up some trust, gets a commit bit, merges one of their own PRs, ... Now, this would be a fairly cheap attack in the scheme of things. And like I said, the bigger and badder Nix packages becomes, the higher the probability that this could happen. And so basically what we're doing is we're acting as a kind of additional level of padding against eventualities like this. So to sum it up, what's missing in all of this is a number to call. Now, it's in the year 2025. I mean this very metaphorically. We don't really call numbers anymore. Thank goodness. I hate talking on the phone. What I mean is more that what's missing is a single point of responsibility. Who's going to guarantee that CVEs are responded to in a timely manner? Whose job is it to respond? When your core infrastructure is at stake, is it enough to rely on volunteers spread across time zones and with varying levels of interest and attention? So let's talk about our answer to these limitations, which is determinate secure packages. It is basically, this is our secure package offering based on Nix packages, and of course, unthinkable without that incredible project. But it's different in the sense that, in many senses. So first of all, we strive to release as frequently as feasible. So we're aiming for roughly every 2 weeks as a kind of baseline cadence. But of course, there will be cases where we need to operate outside of that cadence and push a release in response to a security event. But the way that we've architected things, we will be able to respond to such events in a matter of hours rather than days or weeks. Now, as I said, we've taken Nix packages and we've carved out a curated set of packages to which we're going to give some extra special attention. As a starting point, this currently includes some low-level, I guess you could call them infrastructure packages, to use some very, very loose terminology. This includes things like language compilers and systemd and widely used shell utilities. It notably does not include things like Vim plugins and VS Code extensions. But of course, there's no reason in principle that we couldn't cover such things down the road in response to customer needs. This package set also includes, also notably includes the packages required to build our own products at Determinate Systems. So we are currently using this to build Determinate Nix, Flake Hub, some utilities like FH, the CLI for Flake Hub, and a few other things. And these things are currently used by thousands of folks in the Nix ecosystem. So it's not insignificant that we are sort of dogfooding this, and we hope that this provides some extra trust into our own tools. Like I said, this set of covered packages will expand over time. So most importantly, we intend to expand it in response to customer needs. And we also plan to expand it in response to broader industry trends that we discern over time. So when specific languages or tools or paradigms become crucial pieces of infrastructure, we will absolutely consider adding them if we have the resources to do so. Now, what exactly do I mean by covered packages? This is kind of the heart of the offering, and I will cover that in the next couple slides. Let's start with provenance. So we think of package coverage along many axes, one of which is provenance. So provenance is something that everyone is thinking about nowadays, and providing a per release software bill of materials to accompany some kind of software artifact has emerged as a kind of standard practice for security teams. One of the limitations of Nix packages is that it currently provides very little in terms of provenance, leaving Nix users and security teams to kind of sort of cobble together their own strategy when it comes to this. With Determinate Secure Packages, you'll get a single JSON manifest in CycloneDX format describing each secure package's release. Now, this is a very large JSON object that's in the tens of megabytes, but it really is quite useful when you learn to introspect it. This document will provide exhaustive information about each package in our covered set, including information like the package's Nix store path, the store package for the package's derivation, references to the package's dependencies, and license and copyright information about the package. So it's nice because what you can do is you can use some of this metadata like the store path to then go into the Nix store itself and see what's there. In the future, we intend to expand the information available for each package, and we're working with Nix packages upstream to make that information available. So we would like our SBOMs to include information about things like package types. So right now, all packages are of type library because that's how Nixpkgs currently structures things, but we're working with them to make this information much, much more granular. We'd also like to provide a history of any vulnerabilities related with that package, and we'll say more about vulnerabilities in a second. And we'd also like to provide some in-depth information about any packages that are currently being, any patches that are currently being applied to the package and what those packages have actually done or what their purpose is. So In addition to provenance information, our covered package set is also monitored for common vulnerabilities and exposures, or CVEs as we call them, and it will be patched within an SLA defined timeframe. To that end, we've developed our own internal vulnerabilities database that we're calling DETSys VulnDB. And we've basically done this because the world of CVE like reporting and acknowledgement and a dissemination of information is currently a bit messy and ad hoc. There are many sources of information, and you kind of need to pay attention to all of them at the same time. And we've developed DETSys VulnDB as a kind of as an internal archive that we as a company can deem canonical and then act upon. Our primary sources for this database are the open source vulnerabilities project at osv.dev, as well as MITRE's CVE program at cve.org. We use some other sources as well for this, and this is an area where we expect our approach to evolve pretty heavily over time in response to customer needs and in response to emerging industry standards. Correspondingly, we have our own internal patch set that we apply to every secure packages release. And this is, of course, a patch set that's going to change pretty substantially over time. Now, we actually do not apply these patches using Nix. Instead, we've developed our own special tooling to ensure that packages are applied before Nix itself evaluates any expressions in Nix packages, which makes things much cleaner and more easy to reason about on our side. And because we have our own internal tooling and processes and chain of command, and more importantly, a carefully constrained package set that's far less than 100-something thousand, our turnaround time for releases in response to CVEs can be much more nimble. And we're hoping that in many cases, we'll be able to respond, like I said, within hours. We do intend to publish a set of service level agreements defining our contractual obligation, turnaround times based on the severity of the CVE. But this is something that we intend to nail down early next year. So this is one of the kind of to be determined things. As I mentioned before, periodic security scanning will be one of our primary avenues for discovering CVEs. So we're currently running a full security scan twice a day, but we may opt for more frequent scans in the future. We are currently using Gripe for this purpose, which we feel has emerged as a pretty clear-cut industry standard tool. One of the great things about Nix, from my perspective, and I've talked about this in past webinars a bunch, is that Nix always thinks in terms of closures. And that means that we get to scan not just the end result packages as bytes on disk, we get to scan the entire dependency tree involved in building or realizing each of these packages. And that gives us a special kind of insight. So if there's a CVE in a language compiler, for example, we can know programmatically which downstream packages in our curated package set are effective. And this is, of course, an area where Nix really shines vis-a-vis other tools. It basically gives you this information for free. So a company like ChainGuard, for example, has done some really great work in securing supply chains for Docker images, but they've had to build a bunch of their own tooling to make this happen. Whereas Nix, as we know, always thinks in terms of the total dependency graph and cannot think otherwise. The entire dependency graph essentially is the Nix worldview, and we are, of course, quite happy to take advantage of this. In addition to security scanning, we intend to provide per-release security reports. And these will include things like detailed change logs for the coverage package set. So you can instantly know what has been added or removed or modified or patched actually between releases. It will also include some detailed CVE analysis in cases where specific packages have been targeted and patched. And we plan to provide all this in a readable, approachable prose format that's readily intelligible to a variety of potential decision makers. Now, documents like SBOMs are great for automation. They're great for computers, of course, but we want to make this all as quite human friendly as well. And so we're hoping that these reports provide a strong basis for action inside your organization. You know, we would want this to be something that the security team can share with a CSO or a CTO. Okay, cool. Another major feature of Determinate Secure Packages is FIPS compliance. And this is something you might be interested in if you're selling any kind of software service to the federal government in the US. So Determinate Secure Packages provides an optional FIPS compliant version of itself that you can use as an alternative to our standard variant. If you want to use that, we have a separate flake at Determinate Systems/secure-FIPS. And all you need to do is use that flake reference in your Nix code. At the outset, FIPS support is going to mostly target a few widely used cryptography-related packages, including OpenSSL, and network security services, or NSS, and GNU TLS. When using the FIPS variant, each of these tools has access only to FIPS-friendly ciphers and modules. As per usual, we expect this list of packages to grow in response to customer needs. An important thing to note, though, is that this FIPS support applies not just to these kind of specifically targeted packages, but also to everything that depends on them. So Python, for example, uses in our FIPS variant, uses a FIPS compliant OpenSSL and thereby becomes FIPS compliant itself. And so if you use this special FIPS variant, the entire covered package set is also thereby FIPS compliant. And although FIPS was a natural place to start for us as a company largely based in the US with a strong customer base in that country, we are open to supporting other standards bodies. So please do come and talk to us if you're operating under the constraints of some other regulatory regime. We have built infrastructure and processes to handle other regimes if necessary. And finally, we build our coverage package set on secure infrastructure. So that includes not just package builds, but also applying packages and generating release metadata like SBOMs. So we've developed a special GitHub Actions runner for this purpose, and that runner itself will, of course, be built with Determinate Secure Packages. This will reduce our reliance on Nixpkgs public infrastructure to zero. Actually, as a side note, in order to build this custom runner, we're using something we're working on called Minnows, which is essentially a extremely minimalist alternative to NixOS that you're going to be hearing much more about in 2026. So stay tuned for that. There will be a webinar and all kinds of good stuff there. Each release will be cryptographically signed on our dedicated runner with a signature automatically verified with Determinate Nix whenever you use the secure package set. And that dedicated runner will push all of our covered packages to FlakeHub Cache, our secure Nix caching platform. This will provide not just your developers, but also your CI jobs and even systems running in production, environments like AWS, with authenticated pull access to the entire covered package set. And this all happens, and because of federated authentication, this all happens in a very automagical way. So what does this look like in code? Well, there's not much to show here on purpose. Instead of pulling Nix packages from GitHub, you provide this FlakeHub flake reference, and if you're signed up and authenticated with FlakeHub, you get Determinate Secure Packages, period. Or if you want to use the FIPS variant, you provide the flake reference shown down below, and now your whole package set is FIPS compliant. So this makes secure packages more or less a drop-in solution. Our goal, of course, was to make it something that engineering orgs largely don't even notice. So your developers make a one-line change, and meanwhile, we work behind the scenes to make sure that Nixpkgs tarball that you get at the end is as clean and shiny as we can possibly make it. So what's the current status of Determinate Secure Packages? Well, the infrastructure for it is done. We're already rolling out internal releases for it and refining the processes behind it. We are already building anything that's important to us as a company using our own secure package set. So that includes Determinate Nix, FlakeHub, and a bunch of other utilities. And that so far has been going swimmingly, if you ask me. We have a small group of external customers using it and providing feedback as beta testers. I think this is also going quite well. All that's missing at this point is some final bits of polish. So we're doing things like building out a web experience around release metadata, and we're working to reduce build times, and we expect this all to wrap up in early 2026. And there are some other details like service level agreements that I mentioned before that are still in need of sort of like a dotting the I and crossing the T. So if any of this piques your interest, don't hesitate to get in touch with us at sales@determinate.systems. we're extremely keen to hear about your use cases and requirements. If email is not your bag, we do have a discourse channel. A Discord channel, determinate.systems/Discord. I forgot to include that in the slide. My apologies, but you can find that on the front page of our website. And if you have any questions, I'm going to do my best to answer them. But if I need any help, Graham and Elko are going to be here, the founders, and also the Determinate Systems engineer, Tristan Ross, the lead of the Secure Packages project, is also here to help. Tristan has done absolutely incredible work on this, and I'm super excited to have him here with us today and to talk with him in Slack every day. It's awesome. So everybody, fire away, and back to you, Jeff.
Wonderful, Luke. Thank you so much. Fantastic. I'm really excited about this product offering as well. It's something that we started talking about earlier this year. I've had a chance to work on it with you and Tristan and Graham and the rest of the team, and it's pretty great. So we do have some questions coming in. I can actually answer a few of them. So you can take a little bit of a break, Luke, if you want to check out the chat or any of the
Sure, yeah,
questions that came in
yeah.
to just you and me.
I'm
Um,
scrolling through right now.
all right, cool. So one of the first questions we got was about Flake Hub, and because you referenced that users will access determinate secure packages through Flake Hub, and so the question is, do they have to be a Flake Hub customer? And I think the answer is that you don't have to necessarily be a you don't have to be a paid Flake Hub customer, but you have to have a Flake Hub account, which you can have a free user account, free organizations. You don't have to pay for Flake Hub to get access. Is that correct, Luke?
That is not correct. To get access to secure packages, you will need to, at the moment, you will need to be a paying customer.
Well, yes, a paying customer of secure packages, but you don't also have to
Right.
pay for Flake Hub.
Oh, no, 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 no. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
No worries. No worries. No worries. Okay, cool. So that was the first one that I thought I could answer. All right. So here's a question. This came in before you talked about SLAs, but there was a question about, if we have or what the SLAs would be around this. And like you said, we're still kind of refining that. We do know that for critical vulnerabilities, we are committing to a 7-day SLA for remediation once the embargo is lifted. So
Okay.
that's the ultimate. 7 days is the drop dead date. We expect we'll have many of our patches well before then, but that's the SLA that we're offering there.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
All
Duly
right.
noted.
Yeah. And then let's see here. I'm just looking at a list I've got. Here's a question. How will I know when a new vulnerability impacts me? I think this is where we're starting with RSS feed. And then we intend to go expand beyond that, probably to a mailing list, because that seems to be, the one kind of universal way of doing it in the security land. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Luke, or if that sounds right to you.
Yeah, that's consistent with what I know from our internal talks. But also, this is another area where it's hard for us to know in advance what these large security conscious organizations need or want. So this is an area where we also expect to be like maximally responsive to the needs of specific customers.
Got it. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. If you see anything, feel free to jump in. Um,
Okay.
can I use this to satisfy SOC 2 and other cybersecurity compliance frameworks?
I mean, I believe so. If you for more information on this, I recommend going to trust.determinate.systems. I'll type this down in the trust.determinate.systems. This provides a bunch more information. And this is something that we'd love to chat with you about if you want to reach out. I think support at determinate.systems is probably a good place, but also, feel free to find us on Discord or anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think conceptually here, the answer is yes, because when you look at, the type of things that frameworks like SOC 2 are asking you to attest to, I can't speak to any specific, questions or items in the framework, but typically these frameworks are asking you, like, if a secure variant of package is available, are you using it? And so, in a way, much of this is, this does help you comply with a lot of different frameworks. And I think at the end of the day, that's what a lot of security stuff is about. It's really about compliance. And it's saying, look, if there's a best practice out there, are you doing it? And when a supported package set is available, typically you are expected to use that in order to remain compliant. And that's one of the great things about this offering. And like you said earlier, it's Nix packages is a fantastic offering that is very trustworthy, but it doesn't necessarily have everything needed to check boxes on compliance frameworks. And so, often you'll find as you go through your SOC 2 or other frameworks, questions where you have to attest that you are using best practices, you are using secured variants, you do have SLAs on patching. And by using Determinate Secure Packages, you can check that box easily without having to spin up your own security team or get your current security team to be the Nix experts that the DetSys team already is. All right. That's about it. Oh, here's one. And this was asked, I think, before you presented this, but there was a question about how hard it is to switch. Like, what would it take to switch? Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, I think you said it's pretty simple, right? It's you just change the URL. Is it really that simple, or is there anything else people need to know?
Yeah, I mean, it really is that simple. So if in your flake.nix file, wherever you're currently using a flake reference to Nix packages, you swap that out for the secure packages flake reference, or the secure FIPS reference, if that's something that you require. And in the flake.nix file, that's straightforward enough. Personally, like what I have done is that in my personal Nix flake registry. So I have Nix packages mapped to our secure packages. So when I do, Nix run Nix packages : OpenSSL on the command line, that is then pulling in our secure package set. And yeah, it really is. At the end of the day, Nix packages is quote unquote just a tarball. And so to get access to those secure expressions, that's all you're going to need is to change that reference.
Right on. Yeah. So it really is that easy.
It really actually is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that covers most of the questions that we've got, or all the ones that we can answer. If you have other questions, of course, send us an email, hello at or sales at determinate.systems, either one. I see here in the chat, there's a few folks that are interested in using the product before the public release. So happy to see that. Please, we'll take a note of your names, but please reach out to us and let us know. And I think the other thing to keep in mind here is that, we are not intending to secure all 100,000 plus packages, but we are prepared to support and secure any package that our customers need. And if we do it for one customer, it goes for the benefit of all customers at no extra cost for anybody. So if this is a product that you would like to use at work and you need to ensure that we cover specific packages, that is really how this product works. So let us know what those packages are. We'll make sure that they're covered, and you can have full coverage of your closure that way. And over time, that means we will support starting with hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands of packages, presumably. Likely never all of them, but that's okay because enterprises using Nix are not using a big chunk of what's in Nix packages. And we even have some really interesting ideas about how we can improve compliance and security posture and improve some of the analytics about package changes and what's included to further reduce risks. So we're going to be investing in this product quite a bit in 2026. I think 2026 is going to be heavily focused on this and the other product that Luc teased named Minnows. So it's going to be a fun year. We did get one more question before we wrap up, and the question is there a plan to have an on-premise version of this product, like for air-gapped infrastructure? Can you answer that,
Hmm.
Luke?
I'm going to have to delegate that to the CEO. That question's a bit above my pay grade.
Yeah. So I think, Graham can answer in chat, but I think I can add to that because I have talked about this a bit. The intent is that customers will be able to use this in air-gapped environments. But at the end of the day, like we have to deliver it to our customers somehow. And so, in a sense, I don't know if it's as much a question about on-prem or not, because, we can deliver the product to you and then you can use it wherever you may need to. But obviously, that includes getting it from us and then moving it into an air gapped uh, environment. So, uh, would love to hear a little bit more about that from you, Ludovic. I know how to get a hold of you because we've chatted before, but hopefully that's a reasonable answer for now, and we can dive in on Slack. All right. Well, I think that wraps this up. Thank you so much for joining this webinar today. Luke, thank you so much for presenting the hard work that you and everyone else have been working on here at DETSYS for the last couple of months. We're going to wrap this webinar up so we can get back to work on these products, and all of you that joined us can get back to what you do every day. But know that we appreciate you. We're glad you're here. We'll be sending out a link to this webinar as a recording. And please let us know if you would like to talk about potentially using the secure packages or determinate secure packages here in the near future. But with that, I will let everyone go. Have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. Bye bye.
See you, everyone.